Southside Revival.
Seattle is a diverse community. Just southeast of downtown Seattle is Rainier Valley. In the last 30 years, growing African American, Latino, Asian, and African immigrant communities have made a home here. Yet many residents struggle to remain in this area due to high costs of living combined with low wages. All of this keeps people trapped in poverty. This map represents the concentrations of poverty in the city of Seattle. The beige and brown colors indicate areas where populations live below the federal poverty level. Thus, the highest concentration of poor people live in South Seattle. This map represents the racial breakdown of the city of Seattle. The beige and brown colors indicate a low percentage of white populations. Thus, the highest concentration of people of color are also in South Seattle. The Debt and Poverty Project took a closer look in Rainier Valley and discovered some of the largest concentrations of rip-off centers in the entire city, shown here by the yellow, red, blue, and purple markers. On this map, the beige and brown colors show that more than 1/3 of the residents of Rainier Valley live below the federal poverty level. This means a typical family of 4 earns less than $1,667 a month. The Debt and Poverty Project then examined the link between the presence of rip-off businesses and debt. Our assumptions were proven correct. In Rainier Valley, high concentrations of rip-off businesses corresponded to high concentrations of poor people, revealing the predatory nature of these organizations. As in many low-income communities across the country, lending and cash-checking businesses offering short-term, high-interest rate loans are popping up all over poor and low-income neighborhoods. With little help or no other alternatives to provide for themselves and their families, many people are turning to these immediate sources of financial support and incurring exorbitant fees and interest rates. This, in turn, compounds their debt and creates a vicious cycle of poverty. Payday loans and check-cashing businesses are a billion-dollar profit industry.
I've been having jobs on and off working for the temp agency. I've been living from paycheck to paycheck. There was a point in time, sometime that I believe it was last summer, when I needed to go to get help, get extra money at the payday loans. And when I got the money, you also have to pay a certain percentage back, and I didn't have the money to pay it back. So right now I'm still in the process of slowly paying the payday loans back, because what happens is it just generates and it adds up. Every time you don't pay it back, you pay an extra fee, and the money just adds up, and the loan just keeps on getting bigger. So I'm still in that debt poverty. And
I'm here to talk about how I got started with payday loans. Needed to borrow some money so that I could pay my rent one month, and I got addicted to it. So every other month I went in there. The last month I went in there, I actually borrowed some money and I lost my job, so I couldn't pay him the money that I borrowed.
Norma's story is typical of payday borrowers. Because she was a first-time borrower, the maximum she could take out was a $200 loan with an additional $30 fee. That's $15 for every $100 borrowed. Unfortunately for Norma, the exact time the amount was due happened to be 2 hours before she received next week's paycheck. This resulted in $150 in late fees.
Yeah, it's a crazy, problem.
When there is nothing else to tax or exploit, businesses like Griffols entice community members to give their blood for pennies. Griffols is an international company with 72 locations. A collection center can see up to about 750 people per week, paying $20 to $25 per donation. A spokesperson for the Griffols company proudly claimed that they have had individuals who have been longtime donors, ranging from 10 to even 20 years. The company has no reservations, admitting that the bulk of their donors are students, low-income people, and even adults with young kids trying to earn extra gas or food money.
I used it at the plasma center on several occasions. As far as the oil goes and gas prices raising up, I needed it to help on gas because of gas prices going so far up. Another reason why I used it was because, as I had mentioned a while back in my last interview that I did, I was in debt as far as for the paying back my loans.
There's a lot of really messed up things that are happening in Rainier Valley that a lot of people don't know about. There's a lot of environmental racism that goes on in Rainier Valley that I don't think people know about. There's a laundry facility, they got meat packing facilities, and it's mostly women of color, immigrant women actually, who work in these factories. But a lot of people don't know that, so you gotta have this thing going on in this neighborhood, this really terrible thing that a lot of people don't know about. You have a lot of businesses that are in Columbia City that aren't very welcoming to people of color. You have a lot of police harassment at Rainier Beach High School, where I actually graduated from. So you have a lot of really terrible things going on in Rainier Valley that is not discussed. But you also have gentrification on top of that. Generally, the cost of things in Rainier Valley is much higher than in other places.
Southside Revival.
Who is really benefiting from these developments? Tearing down the old? Offering revitalization and redevelopment? Seattle Housing Authority, City of Seattle, and Sound Transit call this economic development. LELO defines economic development from a worker's perspective. LELO states that true economic development starts with a livable wage job, quality health care, accessible child care, and affordable housing.
It's the Southside Revival. Yo. Hungry is an adjective attached to my philosophy. It gotta be. Progress revolves around the economy, and I can see the consequence of capital firsthand. Monorail construction pushed the tenants off the land. My people, get ready. It's about to get heavy. And when I'm not humble, then I got fam to check me. Silence won't protect me, so I check 1, 2 and fight without fighting, like the joint by Sun Tzu on the hill, adjacent to Bowen Field. You can hear the planes flying over me behind my vocals. We speak in the Beacon Hill slang with the wonderful blend of black language and immigrant accent. And if the sun's out, then half the kids will be absent. I'm navigating streets, sometimes it's like a labyrinth. I paint my voice while Sabzi builds the canvas to translate my ancestors' anthems. It's a Southside Revival. Put your hands high, let your arms be the pillars that be holding up the sky. I heard a few heads say that hip-hop is dead. No, it's not. It's just malnourished and underfed. It's a Southside Revival. Put your hands high, let your arms be the pillars that be holding up the sky. I heard a few heads say that hip-hop is dead. No, it's not. It's just malnourished and underfed. Now the reason that they killed made the reason that we came to be, trying to eat and organize simultaneously. But instead most will settle for less. I can't front, I give a fuck if Ronald Reagan is dead. He turned segment relations into crack fiends.